welcome to another episode of Coming Up Milhouse. And today, just like the season indicates, we are talking about another Treehouse of Horror. This time it is from season 9 and it is episode 8.
Episode 8 that comes with 3 stories. The first one is The Omega Man, which is a play on the movie The Omega Man, which I have covered on my other channel. Go check that out.
Nice.
The next one is Fly versus Fly, which is a take on The Fly, which I have also covered on my other channel. Go check that out. And the third one is Easy Bake Coven. You gotta love that title, right?
I do.
Yeah, so I will just go out and say all 3 of these in this one were great. They were firing on all cylinders, I think, when they wrote this episode. I enjoy all 3 of them very well. What do you think about that?
I agree. It probably goes in order of how they are shared with us in this. For me, The Omega Man is number 1, Fly versus Fly number 2, and Easy Bake Coven is number 3 for me.
Yep, I can go with that. I will say though, the Easy Bake Coven feels like the most Halloween-y of them
absolutely.
all, because it really plays on that fall and witches and stuff.
With some trick or treat.
Yeah, and trick or treat. So it's a very Halloween-y one. But
yes,
it's very good.
Absolutely.
All right, well, let's do our thing and kick it off with lines. Give me your first line.
So I am going to share a line from every segment as we go through this. And my first line that I'm going to go with is, "But Aquaman, you cannot marry a woman without gills. You're from 2 different worlds. Oh, I've wasted my life." And that, of course, was the good old comic book guy. And if you are familiar at all with the Omega Man, or have you've seen this skit in this episode, the world kind of ends in Springfield, and thanks to Mayor Quimby, and so.
Making the French angry, and they send a bomb out via the Eiffel Tower, and it takes out comic book guys on Ground Zero.
Yes. What about you?
All right, so I'm doing the same thing, a line from every story, and the first one, of course, is the Omega Man. But Homer escapes the death of the bomb by checking out one of Herman's bomb shelters and just happens to be in it when the bomb goes off. But he's kind of dumb, as we know, and he's driving home and he doesn't realize everyone's dead. And he pulls up behind Kirk's car. Kirk is laying out the window dead.
Skeleton and all.
And Homer's honking horn. He's like, "It's green, moron! Earth the stupid guy, hello!" And then he gets out of the car and he walks over and he says, "Maybe a little friendly punching will move your ass." And he punches Kirk in the head and his head explodes into dust. And he's like, "Ha, still got it."
Also a fabulous line to share.
Yep, I like it.
Oh my goodness. All right. And so then the next one is from Fly versus Fly. And in that, they go to Professor Frank's garage sale, and then some mishaps occur. So I'm going to go with, "This mountain of stairs used to make bedtime a grueling chore, but not anymore, baby." And Homer gets in a transporter machine at the bottom of the steps, and he has one at the top of the steps that he uses to get to the top of the steps. And he moves that transporter around, so they must not be really all that heavy. They only paid 35 cents for them.
Yeah, and you would think it would expel more energy to be taking these transporters to these different locations for him to then transport himself to that location when he could just walk to the location in his house. But
it seemed like the most common location was right in front of the refrigerator, and he had one by the couch, and since Homer is a lazy guy, he was able to just reach in and grab a beer from the refrigerator or a snack or whatever, or cat ear medicine.
And they go, "Oh, God, oh, that's so good," off camera.
What about you?
All right, so my Fly versus Fly goes back to when they show up at Frank's garage sale, or yard sale as it is, And they walk up, and Professor Frink says, "Good morning, ma'am. Good afternoon, sir. It passed noon while I was speaking, so that was technically accurate." So he happened to greet them right as the second clicked over from morning to afternoon.
It's true.
Yeah, couldn't plan that better if you tried.
I know. And then from Easy Bake Coven, I'm going to go with, they're in my hair. And that was Homer. And if you haven't noticed, Homer doesn't have any hair. He just has 2 little strands of hair. And he's behind me.
Yep. And the bats got in his 2 strands of hair.
So, I mean, I guess technically he has a little bit of hair behind as well, but he was screaming because the bats were getting in his hair, which I thought was pretty great.
I like it.
We'll just hang Homer right there. What about you?
All right, so of course they're doing a play on the whole witch hunt thing and all the crazy like tests you have to do to prove you're not a witch. And so they do this test with Marge, and and there's Witch Hunter Wiggum, and he's like, "People, let us not turn into an angry mob. Goody Simpson is entitled to due process. Okay, here's how the process works. You sit on the broom, and we shove you off the cliff." And then Marge is like, "What?" And he says, "Well, hear me out. If you're innocent, you will fall to an honorable Christian death. If, however, you are the bride of Satan, you will surely fly your broom to safety. At that point, you will report back here for torture and beheading."
Like anyone's going to do that.
If she's really a witch and can fly away, she's going to come back and be like, "All right, you're right.
You're right, I'm a witch.
Behead me."
Go ahead and behead me. No. There are so many great movie references in this, in this episode for sure, and in that segment. Marge, when she falls to her honorable death, she turns green and has black hair and is riding on a broom, and then meets up with her sisters who are also green with black hair who click their heels a few times before they get on the broom when they're flying around later.
Yep.
And so that's of course a good reference to one of my favorite movies of all time. So
Tell us what it is. I'm sure you know. Alright, takes us to scenes. Give me your scene.
Oh, well, I'm going to have to go with in the Omega Man, which this might be, one of your top scenes as well, but Homer is so excited that he's the last man alive, and he gets to do everything he's always wanted to do, and he ends up going into the church, and he strips down his clothes, and he's playing the song War, and he's just dancing naked through the church until the mob of mutants comes in and turns off the music. So
yep. War, huh? Good God, yo, what is it good for?
It's so good. It's hard to pick.
Of course, he would
do
that. Everybody's dead, and he goes to the church and strips down and dances to some 70s.
I know. Yeah. What about you?
I'm going to go with Fly versus Fly because, of course, The Fly, the original one with Vincent Price, is one of my favorite old classic films. Check out my review. And so it does that parody of the climax of that movie where the fly with the human head gets caught in the spider web, and the guy's going, "Help me, help me." And so Bart has the human head on the fly body. He's stuck in the web going, "Help me, help me." The spider is crawling up, going to eat him. But, of course, this is Bart being a trickster. Says, "Sucker," slaps the spider in the face, flies away, and the spider does that "get off my yard, you crazy kids" kind of arm shake with his little spider legs. And I just thought that was great because Bart got one up over the spider. And there you go. And I love that old classic film, so I had to reference it.
Yes, 100%.
All right.
And then we have to move into winners and losers. So who is your winner this week?
My winner is the entire audience of watching this film for a very specific reason, and that's because the censor was killed in the opening segment prior to the couch gag, and all of the jokes and funny references that he was going to cut out of the episode stayed in because he got stabbed and it went from TV PG to TV 14 to TV 21 to TV mature to TV 666. So we all as an audience got to see all the good jokes that didn't get cut, and that makes us winners in my opinion.
Nice. I went with the hippo.
I love the hippo.
Who was promoted to detective. He got to join the police force and then got a promotion over Wiggum in that segment. So, hippo. What about your loser?
So my loser goes to the Omega Man story, and it is the movie theater corpse guy. So another thing, when Homer decides that he's going to get to go do whatever he wants because he survived, he goes to the movie theater and he's munching on popcorn and soda, and he is sitting in front of some guy who died. Oh yeah, he's sitting behind the guy who died. And he kicks the guy's head off because he
says down in
front, and kicks the guy's head off. And I decided to myself, okay, so this poor sucker just wanted to go to a movie.
Yep.
He got neutron bombed, turned into a corpse, and he can't even have that. He's got to have his head kicked off by Homer, who's there, and
could have sat
anywhere. And is he even watching a movie? Or is he just there to eat popcorn? I don't know.
He seemed to be, maybe he's seat jumping too, because he was sitting by people that still had popcorn and drinks, and he was drinking their drink and eating their popcorn.
Exactly.
So
I think he just went there to eat the snack.
Yeah, probably. I mean, he's doing things that he always wanted to do, so it's apparently on this list to do things like steal other people's popcorn and drinks. So. And kick people in the head.
Knock their heads off.
Yep.
You can't even enjoy, the...
Homer. Yeah. Well, I'm going to go a little obscure and go with, at Frank's yard sale, he has a robot that he built, and the poor robot tried to put a sold sign on himself so it could leave and not have to stay there. And Frank said, "No, I built you for cleaning," and nice try, and took his sold sign off, and Charlie Brown sad walked to...
That robot looks so defeated and sad that it had to go off and mop.
Right, so...
I know that feeling, by the way.
Poor robot. So that's my loser this week.
A good note, I had that as my backup.
Well, on another good note, I had the center down as my loser because he died in that segment. So it was just one of those heads or tails kind of situations for us again. I had him down as a backup. So pretty good.
Very good.
Again, this is from season 9. It is Treehouse of Horror episode 8, because in season 1 of The Simpsons they did not do a Treehouse of Horror. So keep that in mind when you're watching episodes. Feel free to find this particular segment on any of the streaming services that you may subscribe to, or just hop on YouTube and look up some of the references that we made mention of. And until next time,
Jiminy Chillicus!
And this is for pushing me off the cliff.
Whoa, whoa, whoa! Whoa!
All right, people, nothing to see here.
Your show's over, all right? Move along.